Hi, we're here at VMworld Day 2. I have Frank Denneman here with me. Welcome back to VMware.
Thank you.
So, what's the story?
So the story is at one point VMware got a wind of me being available, and a couple of high-level persons within VMware started to reach out and saying we're doing something really cool, and we think you're the man, and you're the one to help us with it. And I said, okay, give me the details. We can't. So we're all on under NDA, and you just have to say yes. And the moment you sign, you will hear what's going on. So when those people reach out to you, you know it's cool, right? Yeah. And so I signed up. So Alan Renouf emailed me, William emailed me, Duncan emailed me, Ken Wardenberg, they all said, you need to do this. Yeah. And so I thought this is going to be really cool. So I signed, and then they told me we're doing VMware Cloud on AWS. So yes. That was the cool part.
Yeah. So it was announced before VMworld actually.
Yes, it was on.
Why was it announced before VMworld?
So I think this is a really interesting one. I think well.
Okay,
we always want. Yeah, well, so we always wanted to do a pre-announcement, but something happened with.
Very well.
Yes.
So I was glad that I could read about it before hearing about it, because there's so much, so much in that story.
Yes, and it's an industry changing story, I believe.
Yes.
Right. And I think also the availability of both Pat Gelsinger and Andy Jassy, the CEO of AWS, had something to do with it as well. Yeah. Yeah. So for us, it was the interesting announcement. So our offering is coupled with an offering that's being announced by AWS. So we cannot talk about the stuff AWS is doing and what we're really consuming. That's being announced at reInvent. That's their conference.
Okay, reInvent is their conference.
Yes.
Okay. And it's coming up soon?
I think it's end of November, beginning of December, I believe.
Something like that.
Yes.
Okay. So can you tell us something about the details on VMware and Amazon?
Okay. So we call it VMware Cloud on AWS, and for us it's really difficult to say because we've been trained not to say AWS for a long time.
For a long time.
Yeah.
You've been working hard in months on this.
Yeah. So these guys are working extremely hard. We don't have a finished product yet, but we're working hard. And what we're going to do in Q1 is the beta, Q2 another beta, and then we're going to deploy it in around, or make it generally available around VMworld 2017. So what is it, right?
Yeah.
So VMware Cloud on AWS is a way to consume AWS data centers and their services by deploying a SDDC stack inside their data center. Yeah. So you're creating a private cloud inside a public cloud. Yes. So what we do is we spin up a couple of hosts, minimum of 4, that's due to vSAN. Yeah. So we're using vSAN for the storage, and we're using NSX for the network bits. That coupled together with a virtual center is called a VMware Cloud on AWS. So it runs on bare metal, newly dedicated infrastructure in AWS data centers. So in an elevator pitch, you're going to use the best enterprise data center software on the best in-cloud or public cloud service provider. Yeah. And one of the cool things is that AWS, this is my opinion, I think it's the best data center operator in the world. Yeah. Look at what they do, look at the scale, look at the elasticity they offer. Yeah. And if you look at their customers, such as Netflix, you know they need to provide network connectivity to every city around the world, and with the amount of bandwidth and with the lowest amount of latency. Yeah. So if they can manage that with Netflix, they can manage the virtual machines most of the vSphere environments run, right? So what we do is we create that cloud, right? And that's an SDDC cloud. But we manage your hardware, we service your hardware. So patching and just overall operations like availability are done by us in conjunction with AWS.
Yes, there's a difference between hosting and this one.
Yes.
So you said about the patching, there's some control there.
Yes.
Yes. Can you tell us a little bit about that? I think that will be very interesting for the Danish.
Yeah. So we patch and we control the host.
Yeah.
You consume the resources, but they're still your a minimum of 4 hosts.
Yeah.
So you can still decide how many virtual machines you run. You can still do everything you want, but we control the backend.
Yeah.
So we're making sure you don't get into trouble with your host.
Yeah.
That said, it allows us to use the elasticity of AWS and use their fleet management and their scale. So what we built on top of the normal SDDC stack, we built something what we like to call elastic DRS.
Yeah.
And elastic DRS.
Talking about your
Yes.
t-shirt there. So
Well, we
that's
need to get an E in,
but
like
it's very
EDRS.
relevant again.
Yeah.
That was a cool feature of the DRS.
I believe so. I believe it's one of the coolest features. What EDRS allows you to do is it starts to monitor the DRS, the overall consumption of the DRS cluster.
Yeah.
And when it sees that you're running out of resources, it will do an API call to the AWS infrastructure and say, I want another host. And another bare metal host is being provisioned in that cluster.
Yeah.
vSAN is being stretched out, and NSX is completely in tune. And now DRS, the normal DRS, can start to load balance the virtual machines on top of it.
Yeah.
Now, coming back to the maintenance, because we have that elastic DRS, what we can do is we can also use those hosts to patch. So when you say I want to have a minimum of 4 hosts, you will always have a minimum number of 4 hosts.
Yeah.
So when we patch a host for you, because that's what we do, we add in another host, we patch it, and once it's patched, we drop out another host that is unpatched.
Yeah.
Right? We're still in the details of figuring out how to do it, but in general is you won't see any reduction of your resources when we're doing the patching. So that's also that's the reason why we want to do it as well, right?
Yeah.
Same thing with HA. When a host fails, one of the biggest problems is how do you cope with the loss of your resources?
Yes.
With Elastic DRS, we just basically fetch another host, we add it in, and you're good to go. If the host is still available and Nick, for example, is just gone, or something else, we start to drain the vSAN and put that on the new host, and then when that's finished, we extract the other host. Those costs are eaten by us, right? Because you just bought 4 working hosts.
Yeah, and
that is extremely valuable.
Yeah.
So capacity planning becomes quite easy, right?
Exactly. And that was what you were talking about also in your session, the capacity planning problem for the data centers.
Yes, because you don't have to think about how many resources do I need to keep spare for patching, for HA, what is my current workload actually wanting, what is my incoming workload demanding. You can allow your Elastic DRS to do it automatically. So you say, I want to have a minimum of 4, I want to have a maximum of 16. And Elastic DRS starts to auto scale. So it can burst up to 16, and when the load is reduced, it just removes those hosts again.
So cool.
That's really good.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So, and you also had another demo at the general session, at your session about vMotion?
Yes. Well, so the idea is...
I still love vMotion, but this is just an add-on. This is perfect.
Yeah, so what we do is, together with the networking and all the stuff we're doing, we allow you to do a long-distance vMotion or vMotion from your on-prem DC to your in-cloud DC, but also from your in-cloud DC to your on-prem DC. It can go either way, right? Now,
that was very awesome.
It's awesome, but it's still vMotion, so it's weird, right? So you're doing things that...
So on Twitter, like, did I understand it correctly? Did they just seamlessly just vMotion?
Yes.
Yeah, so that is crazy.
That's perfect, right? So you're using a technology that you've been used to using for, I think, the last 12 years or 11 years, but now you're going to use that technology to migrate your workload as a normal virtual machine into the cloud of AWS, which I think is brilliant. And if you think about that, that shows that every vSphere admin right now, and every architect is perfectly positioned to use vCloud on AWS, because with your current skill set and with your current certification levels, you can start to consume this. Now the cool part is, what we do is when you sign up for this service, you need to connect your VMware account with your AWS account, and that allows you to consume the AWS services as well. So when you have a particular, for example, we use this in a demo in a presentation as well. Let's say you have like a Oracle virtual machine, but you just want to have the data, you want to have like data warehouses. What you can do is you can move that Oracle virtual machine into the cloud, and I want to repeat this.
Yes, please.
You're running a Oracle virtual machine on a vSphere host. So the licensing has nothing to do with AWS.
And that's a great point.
It's just a virtual machine running on vSphere. So if you want to license that host for Oracle, you can do so. It's not like an EC2 instance that you do it for the entire cloud, right? It's just there. So stop with the licensing FUD. That's not going to help anybody.
No.
So.
Point taken.
Yes. Well, I'm not addressing you, but I'm addressing everybody in general. So the thing is, what you can do is you can figure out, okay, do I want to run this Oracle virtual machine or any other database? But Oracle is always an interesting example. You can also, what you can say is, no, I'm going to connect this virtual machine or connect another virtual machine with Redshift, which is the data warehousing service from AWS. And you can transfer over the data until all the data is in that environment. You can basically decommission that virtual machine, right? Or you can use the virtual machine for something else. Because you're doing this in cloud, you don't pay for the transfer of data, so it's only once, right? But it's an interesting choice, and you can do this with all the services, like Glacier, like RDS, the relational database services. Everything you want, you can use.
So a lot of flexibility in this partnership.
Yeah, so flexibility for the IT operations, but from a career perspective, the vSphere admin can now slowly start to understand, can slowly get into the AWS services without ramping up, without saying, okay, I want to have this application running in the cloud. You need to re-architect, you need to re-platform, you need to test, you need to do all these things and then figure out what to do, right? With this, just migrate it over, see what you can do, see if you can connect a couple of services to it, enhance your whole offering, and then start slowly learn a little bit more. So it's not necessary to have the AWS certification because you're just running vSphere.
You know the interface.
You know everything because you've been using that for more than 10 years, right? But you can augment your skill set with AWS services.
And I know someone will be thinking, how about the billing? How do you manage that?
So we're still in the process of figuring this out, of course. But in general, the idea is per hour, per month, per year.
So still, a lot of flexibility there.
Yeah, and then either pay by credit card, swipe it, or do it with your credits. You can also, the last thing I heard was VMware credits.
Let's see. I know it's still in the process.
It's always, but this is all technical preview.
It's a great innovation.
Yes, I think as well.
It was a great announcement. So
thank you very much.
I know you did 3 sessions. You
Yeah.
had a perfect hotel sleep last night and stuff like
I'm
that.
going to
You did
sleep
great.
tonight. Yes.
So thank you so much.
Thank you very much for having me. Okay. Bye bye.